I've got 6 o'clock. Are we ready to start?
I'm ready.
Yes. Nice to meet you. I like when I have a cool on-air.
We do have an on-air light, which has me a little frightened. Oh, I get 6 o'clock. You ready yet? Everybody ready?
Yep.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. I'd like to welcome you to the August 4th meeting of the Board of Zoning Appeals. Can we have a roll call for a quorum, please?
Dave Bertner,
Present.
Mike Field,
Present?
Dan McInnes,
Here.
Kevin Sears,
Here.
Lauren Wall.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Next item on the agenda looks like it's the findings of fact from 225 South 10th Street.
Motion to approve.
I will say, I don't know if this is an edit, but they reference being adopted in June and July in there, so I don't know if that's something that we need to change, it being August.
I'll look right now, hold on 1 second.
Yeah. Sorry, throwing a wrench in the gears here, but.
No, not at all. Not at all. If you
Good catch.
notice something, let's get it, make sure we get it clarified before it's permanent record.
Yeah, those dates that say at the end, findings of fact adopted on June 2nd should be modified to August 4th. And then the Craft Court one says July 7th, that should say August the 4th. So we
Okay.
can make those changes.
Yep. I will second with this changes.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. And the next is, let's see, 17295 Craft Court.
I will motion to approve.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded with the same date correction as on the previous item. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. The ayes have it. Moving on to new business, BZNA 0092 2025. Pardon me. 1338 Pleasant Street.
Thank you very much. I'll get my aerial up for you. Okay. Before you is a development standards variance request for 1338 Pleasant Street. The site is Staff Exhibit A. It's outlined in red on the overhead. To the south is Pleasant Street. And then to the west is 13th Street. Subject site actually is multiple parcels currently at the northeast corner of Pleasant and 13th. The 2 acres outlined in blue on the first page of the staff report are under the ownership of Noblesville Baptist Temple of Hamilton County and are improved with the house, place of worship, and associated parking. The 0.12 acre parcel outlined in red was currently at the writing of the staff report owned by the city of Noblesville, but it is expected, and I apologize, I did not double check by tonight, but it was expected that the ownership would transfer to the church by tonight. A secondary plat combining the parcel with the place of worship and the city-owned parcel was accepted by the Board of Works and hence been recorded. Access to the site is gained from both Pleasant and 13th Streets. The subject parcels are zoned R4, 1 and 2 family residential. To the north are dwellings also zoned R4. To the west and south are commercial uses zoned R4 and I2 respectively, and to the east is an undeveloped I2 zoned parcel. Due to the ongoing Reimagine Pleasant Street project and the acquisition of right-of-way by the city of Noblesville for street widening between 11th Street and 19th Street, existing parking in the southeast corner of the site will be relocated out of the new right-of-way. Additional parking spaces will be provided in the southwest corner of the site, this little vacant area there, and interior to the site adjacent to the dwelling or just east of the dwelling parcel. Under current consideration is a variance of development standards to allow for expansion of the parking lot that would not meet the required 20-foot setback from the property boundaries. Section 10, which is our parking standards provisions of the UDO, requires that all parking lots shall be set back a minimum of 20 feet from the property line abutting any street, and it also specifies that accessory off-street parking and loading spaces shall be provided on the same lot as the use served. Page 2 of the staff report, I hope you can see it adequately. Let me zoom in for you. So the area outlined in blue, again, this is page 2 of the staff report. This area here will be removed. There's existing parking here that will be removed, and some of it will be relocated, and then additional parking spaces are also being added. So the additional parking spaces are being provided right at the corner of Pleasant and 13th, and then interior to the site where it adjoins the house. You will see that staff is recommending approval. The findings of fact begin on page 3 of the staff report. We believe that relocating the now non-conforming parking spaces in the southeast corner of the site requires some flexibility in the site design for the proposed parking areas to be installed to compensate for the loss of parking due to the Pleasant Street right-of-way taking. Because of the wide right-of-way and street configuration at the corner of Pleasant and 13th Street, the visual impact of the reduced parking lot setback from 13th Street is mitigated. Landscaping will be required around the perimeter of the parking lot on 13th Street, and staff report also lays out what that landscaping requirement would be. Additionally, the parking lot encroaching over the lot line with the dwelling will not impede the use of the lot for church-related residential purposes. It is not likely that the use and value of real estate adjacent to the subject site would be affected in a substantially adverse manner should the board approve the variance request. Nearby property owners may remonstrate against this petition. At the time that I wrote the staff report, I received one call from an interested party asking if any of the parking lot or the proposed parking was going to encroach to the north. It is not. It is all going to be to the south and interior to the site. Finally, staff finds that the strict applications of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. The need for the variance arises not from an action undertaken by the property owner, but rather by the dedication of the Pleasant Street right-of-way, which is a benefit to the general public. While the proposed parking lot will provide more parking spaces than what is being lost due to the Pleasant Street widening, applying the current requirement of a 20-foot setback for a parking lot would hamper development of the site in a useful and organized way. With that, I am happy to answer any questions that the board might have.
So is it fair to say that this is just to reduce some of the impact on the property owner and just clean up things with the Pleasant Street expansion?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. All right, thank you
All right,
very
thank you.
much. This item is before us for a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak for or against this item, please step forward. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. That seems pretty cut and dried. I'm glad to see the city stepping in to try to make life easier on somebody when they dedicated right away to the project.
Yep. I'll move to approve BZNA 0000092-2025.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Just a second.
Give it to Dan.
It's been moved and seconded. Can we have a roll call, please?
Kevin Sears,
Aye.
Dan McInnes,
Aye.
Dave Bertner,
Aye.
Lauren Wall,
Aye.
Mike Field.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion carries. Next item is BZNA 0094, 2025, 2002 Greenfield Avenue.
Thank you. Let me put up my aerial again. Okay. We are dealing with This parcel outlined in red in Staff Exhibit A, it's a 7.12 acre parcel zoned in the flood hazard zoning district. It is improved with the single-family dwelling and associated accessory structures. To the north are single-family dwellings and vacant parcels zoned flood hazard and R4. To the south are single-family dwellings and a church zoned R1. To the west are single-family dwellings zoned R1, R4, and flood hazard. A vacant parcel abuts to the east that is also zoned flood hazard. Due to the topography of the site and the fact that the two-story dwelling is constructed over the dwelling's attached walkout garage, the property owner has indicated that he experiences flooding in the dwelling's ground level space or the garage area. The property owner proposes to fill in the attached garage, which, as you can see, here is the driveway off of Greenfield Avenue. It's quite a steep drop-off there. He proposes to fill in the attached garage to mitigate flooding and then to construct a 2,525 square foot detached accessory structure to the east, generally in this area, to compensate for the loss of parking and storage area. It's important to remember that the proposed structure complies with the UDO requirements for size, setback, and height. However, and this is an issue that does not come before the board very often, in Article 8, any alteration to a site or existing structure within the flood hazard district must appear before the Board of Zoning Appeals for approval before any construction or alteration of the site may begin. And again, this is zoned flood hazard. There is no underlying residential zoning district. It is straight FH. Staff Exhibit B is an overlay of FEMA's flood maps. The subject site is shown in red, it's ballooned in red. The hatch mark on the north side of the parcel is the floodway. The blue area is the 100-year, the 1% flood, special flood hazard area. FEMA, those are FEMA's maps. FEMA determines the base flood elevation, the BFE, or the elevation of surface water resulting from a flood that has a 1% chance of equaling or exceeding that level in any given year. So that is what we consider the floodplain, the 100-year floodplain, the 1% floodplain. And that is all based on hydrologic and hydraulic analysis for points along the floodplain. For this site, FEMA has set the base flood elevation at 756.3. It's important to remember, though, that FEMA does not know the elevation of any site, of any specific site. So while FEMA sets the BFE, the base flood elevation, at 756.3, that they are saying that that is the level at which the water will reach in a 100-year storm, FEMA doesn't know, particularly on this site, where the elevation of 756.3 actually is. So that means that a lot of times properties or portions of properties are inadvertently mapped into the floodplain. The applicant's engineer, who is here tonight, has indicated that the lowest existing grade in the area of the proposed construction is 756.5, which is 0.2 feet above FEMA's identified base flood elevation. So according to that, it is out. That grade is out of the special flood hazard area. However, until FEMA issues a letter of map revision, removing that portion of the property from the floodplain, we have to act as though the entire portion, that this is correct, that this site is in the floodway and the floodplain. We must administer the floodplain provisions of the UDO, requiring the board to review this project before it is allowed to proceed. It's also important to remember that Indiana Department of Natural Resources is reviewing the applicant's plans to construct the accessory structure in the floodway pursuant to the Indiana Flood Control Act, again, because FEMA has not yet removed that portion of the property from the floodplain.
So this is just the first step in a fairly long process?
This is the first step, correct.
Before we break ground, yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Furthermore, the Hamilton County Drainage Board will review and approve or deny the proposed 26 cubic yards of compensatory cut in this area of the parcel, in the northwest corner of the site, in conjunction with the 92 cubic yards of fill proposed around the dwelling. Staff is recommending approval. Findings of fact begin on staff report, on page 3 of the staff report. The variance application is required, again, because FEMA has mapped the site in the floodplain, although applicant is, their elevations determined that it is above the base flood elevation. Rather than wait for FEMA to issue that letter of map revision, removing this portion of the property from the floodway, the property owner has opted instead to go through the variance process in front of the board, concurrent with the state and county review process, just to speed the review up. It is not likely that the use and value of real estate adjacent to the subject site will be affected in any substantially adverse manner by allowing the variance request. Nearby property owners, again, may come and ask questions or raise concerns. Staff did have one phone call from an adjacent property owner requesting additional details on the project, and then after discussing with her, it seemed that her questions were more better directed to the DNR. Finally, the strict application of the terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property because it is likely that the inclusion of the property in the floodway is an error in mapping and not the result of the property owner's actions. The LOMAR review process by FEMA could be lengthy and delay the owner's ability to construct the accessory structure in a timely manner. Again, recommending approval. I would draw your attention, though, to staff report page 4 with the third condition of project approval, if the board should approve it. One of the conditions should be that applicable state and county permits will be provided to the city prior to the issuance of a permit for construction of the accessory structure. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
There's no issue with square footage of the actual garage or anything?
There is not. They are because they are over 5 acres, they're allowed to have 4,000 square feet. They are well within the,
Okay.
yes.
Is this a two-story structure?
No, it is not. It is, it has a dormer on either side, but it is a one-story structure, and it meets the ODO requirement for the height.
I'm looking at a floor plan here.
Yeah, there's
It
plans on
says
there.
first floor storage, mudroom, workshop and parking, 2 stalls. And then the next drawing shows a second floor with a meeting space, attic storage, and offices.
And
Yes, but
bathroom.
it is, we would not consider that a second story. That's just a finished attic. And again, he could have a 2-story structure if it meets the UDO requirement for a height for a detached accessory structure, and this does. There's no prohibition against having a second story on an accessory structure as long as you are below the height requirement.
I was confused with the square footage, because if it is 2 stories high, it's more than 2,500 square feet.
We don't count, we look at the plan view. We do not count a second story for square footage for an accessory structure. And again, this is just a finished attic, so we would not count it towards the square footage.
Okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Is the petitioner present? If you could come forward and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Brian Brown with Stepworth and Associates, 7965 East 106th Street. Amy had talked about, elevation of the area for the structure. It's kind of hard to see.
At the top of the wheel.
Oop, wrong way. Okay, so one of the things we did is we surveyed the site to look at exactly what was going on. We looked at the Hamilton County contours, and they showed that that area was high, even though it showed the floodplain and the floodway going right through there. We're like, we need to confirm this. When we did our topographic survey of the site, we showed that the house is out of the floodplain. The kind of circle driveway up in the front is out of the floodplain, and then the area off to the right also is out of the floodplain. Elevations in there go up to 58, 59 in that area, and then as you get closer to the road, we're actually 4 or 5 feet out of the floodplain. So when these were originally mapped, I think they just used too large of a contour to do the mapping originally. So in effect, the building is out of the floodplain from an elevation standpoint, and we are working with DNR to get that permitted appropriately, and then we'll have to file with FEMA once everybody agrees to it to figure out how to get it out of the floodway, because there's no way the floodway can be there if the floodplain's not there. So we've got to try and get that resolved.
Staff has asked for 4 specific conditions if we were to approve this item. Does the property owner have any problems meeting those conditions? 3 of them are listed in the staff report, and the 4th that Amy just asked for was that all state and,
It's all in number
That's number
3.
is it all in number 3?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
It's just the 3.
very good, okay. Does the property owner have any problem with meeting those requirements? Or conditions, I suppose I should say, to be, okay.
I was going to say, I didn't want to speak for him, but no,
Very good.
and as soon as we have those permits, we will provide them. It's
Okay.
just,
Anyone have any more questions for the
Questions for me?
petitioner? All right, thank you very much. We may call you back during our deliberations if we have any questions. This item is before us for a public hearing. If anyone would like to speak for or against this item, please step forward. She said she got a request, okay. I did get a request card from Sherry Potsonak? Potasnik, okay. And she indicated that her questions have been answered during the discussion, so she will not be speaking this evening. Anyone else? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing.
I will motion to approve BZNA 94-2025
Based on the findings of fact with
and
the,
the specific
and the
conditions.
specific
Second.
conditions. It's been moved and seconded. Could we get a roll call, please?
Lauren Wall,
Aye.
Dave Bertner,
Aye.
Dan McInnes,
Aye.
Kevin Sears,
Aye.
Mike Field.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Good luck.
Yeah.
It just gets more complicated from here. Do we have anything else before the board this evening? Okay, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned.
I'll second.
Second?
We are adjourned. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.